This is Muriro on Monday on Star FM. Muriro on Monday. Brace yourself. It's a hard hat area.
Star FM sounding good all the time. Good evening and thank you for making us your number one. Here's hoping you've had a pleasant Monday. It is 9 minutes before 7 o'clock, and as always, on a day and time as this, we discuss issues to take Zimbabwe forward. I am Linda Muriro. Now, the National Development Strategy, NDS1, placed young people at the heart of national transformation to drive community innovation, climate action, digital literacy, and social change across the country. The National Development Strategy 2, NDS2, goes further, anchoring youth empowerment as a non-negotiable pillar of our march toward an inclusive, resilient, upper-middle income Zimbabwe by 2030. Youth have always been at the center of our national story, from the courage of liberation fighters in the first and second Chimurenga to the modern innovators pushing boundaries in technology, entrepreneurship, climate resilience, and civic leadership. Today's youth, however, face a different battlefield: unemployment, digital exclusion, and the silent wars against drug abuse. And yet they remain the country's greatest asset, making more than half of Zimbabwe's population. The nation is confronted yet again by a moment when it must look its young citizens in the eye and answer a single defining question: are we preparing you for the future? Now, that moment arrives every year on National Youth Day, a day born from history, fueled by sacrifice, and shaped by generations of young people who carried this nation on their backs long before independence and long after it. This year, the day is coming as we implement NDS2, a blueprint designed to unlock their creativity, expand opportunities, and ensure no young Zimbabwean is left behind. Tonight, as we confront the promise and the pressure of that responsibility, we spotlight and unpack the significance of the National Youth Day. What real opportunities lie ahead of young people under NDS2's emerging priorities, and what bold steps are being taken to ensure that every young Zimbabwean, from the urban innovator to the rural dreamer, is empowered, protected, and positioned to lead. That's the discussion. Stay with us.
This is Muriro on Monday on Star FM. Muriro on Monday. Brace yourself. It's a hard hat area.
And I'm joined in studio by Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training Deputy Minister, Honorable Kudakwashe Mpamhanga. Honorable Deputy Minister, good evening and welcome to Star FM.
Good evening. Thank you for welcoming me.
All right. And as always, we value the contribution of you, our listeners. You can take part in this discussion. Our studio WhatsApp number is 0772-162-651. And I will open the phone lines after the news at 7 o'clock. You can phone in on 0714-414-413. And as we begin our discussion, Honorable Deputy Minister, can you tell us more about preparations for this year's National Youth Day? Where are we with preparations for this upcoming event?
Thank you very much. Preparations are at an advanced stage in terms of the province that is hosting us, which is Mashonaland East. We are also going to be launching the building of a new vocational training center and a youth service center in Mashonaland East at Igawa Vocational Training Center, which is a wonderful thing that is happening for young people. So as our time nears the day, I think it's all systems go and everybody is ready for the big day and the event.
All right, Honorable Deputy Minister, when we talk about, usually when we have these events, we are talking about positioning youths, and it's about positioning youths. Of course, we are expecting the theme for this year's event to be announced soon. But maybe just from that position of positioning youths, what does it mean when we talk of positioning a young person in Chiredzi or Lupane? Is this really a national celebration for all, or for those who can just go to the stadium where the main celebrations are?
No, thank you very much. It's a very pertinent question that you have asked. It is the National Youth Day. So the history of this day is that it was a day that belonged to the ZANU-PF party. It was the 21st February movement, or the Robert Gabriel Mugabe Youth Day. But after the coming in of the Second Republic, His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa decided that he wanted to include everybody and leave nobody behind. So it then became a national day. It's a national youth event. It does not mean that ZANU-PF Youth League is excluded, but it means that we're taking all youth, those that are with the party or not, anybody who is between the ages of 15 and 35 who is Zimbabwean young person. It is a day in which the ministry gets to showcase things that it has been doing. It also is a day for young people to showcase what they're doing. It's also an opportunity for those who are within the youth sector to come and present to young people what they are doing, and to provide young people with opportunities and information about what is happening and what's going on.
All right. Now, Honorable Deputy Minister, we are now under the National Development Strategy 2, NDS2. End of October last year, the President launched the National Youth Empowerment Strategy. And when we look at both blueprints, there is reference to the issue around youth hubs in every province. For a young person in a remote area like Binga or Kwandino Vauko Kunyanyadzi and Ukumbiri Kunyanyadzi, what will they actually find inside these hubs on day one, for instance? Is it just information, or is it actually equipment and funding?
Yeah, what I would say is that currently we have 54 vocational training centers. But over the past 2 years since the birth of this new ministry, we've realized that a lot of our facilities, they are substandard. They are not good enough for the young people out there. Nonetheless, resource constraints does not mean that we should not work. So what you would find there is our vocational training courses. What we have done is that we have built on what we have and to try to rejuvenate youth programming and the youth sector and started to build. So this year you will see the building of a new vocational training center in Mashonaland East, as well as another one in Matabeleland South, so that when we get to areas like Nyanyadzi, as you say, even though there will be satellite stations where we do youth work, but at the incubation hubs, we want to be able to move on from just your traditional vocational skills of metal fabrication and plumbing to move on to digital skills, because that's a big area that young people are dominating the world over. And Zimbabwe, we don't want Zimbabwe to be left behind.
All right, thank you very much. And this is the conversation that we are having. We're a few seconds before we get into Now Indaba, and you can continue sending your messages on 0772-162-651 as we continue with that conversation around the National Youth Day and all things to do with the youth. I am joined in studio by the Deputy Minister of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, Honorable Deputy Minister Mpamhanga, and we continue our discussion.
This is Muriro on Monday on Star FM. Muriro on Monday. Brace yourself. It's a hard hat area.
Many thanks to the news team for giving us Now Indaba. They are back at 8 o'clock with the last bulletin of the day. It is 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. I am Linda Muriro, and we continue with our discussion with youth development, empowerment, Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, Deputy Minister Honorable Kudakwashe Mpamhanga, who's here in studio as we talk about the National Youth Day and all things to do with the youth. And I see some of your messages. You can keep them coming on 0772-162-651. The number to phone in on is 0714-414-413. Now, Honorable Deputy Minister, there has been so much talk around the issue of digital transformation transformation. We are in an era of AI and many other technological advancements, and even around the national, the priority areas of NDS2, there's the issue of digital transformation. Relating to youth, given the high data costs, which is a massive barrier, how does the ministry plan to position a rural youth to compete in the 2030 digital economy? And how is the ministry working to ensure that digital empowerment isn't just for those who can already afford a smartphone and Wi-Fi?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think it's first very important to establish that we have a large youth demographic in Zimbabwe, 67.7% being 35 and below. As a result, that is the majority of the people in our country. So when we talk about youth, it's firstly not just the job of the Ministry of Youth, it's the job of the entire government. It's a whole of government approach. So when I look at your question about rural youth, there are a number of ministries who are working in conjunction together to, first of all, get connectivity out to rural areas under the presidential internet scheme, where Starlink kits are being put at growth points, schools, clinics, and that gives access to the people that are there. As a ministry, what we are doing is that we are incorporating digital skills into our vocational training centers. And we've also realized that we cannot do it alone. So we have partnered together with a number of developmental partners, like the UN family, as well as organizations like Uncommon, Young Africa. And what they have done is, in partnership with the ministry, they have come and set up together with us digital hubs where young people are free to access the internet, to use computers, to have a chance to explore whether their creativity can match what is going on around the world. So that's what we're doing in that respect.
All right. And usually when there are commemorations, Honorable Deputy Minister, there's a lot of hype around events and commemorations. And, the issues relating to that commemoration really come under the spotlight. But when the celebrations in Marondera are over and the tents are taken down, what is the one tangible thing, gift or policy change that youths in Mashonaland East, for instance, who are the hosts of this year's National Youth Day, can say that they gained from hosting such an event?
Well, I think there's a lot that will happen. I think anywhere where His Excellency, the President, Dr. Edi Mnangagwa, goes, anywhere he goes, he leaves an impact. I think that is a policy that he's introduced since he became the president. So already as we speak, there are a number of roads within the entire province of Mashonaland East that are being rehabilitated, schools that are going to receive new computer labs, boreholes are being drilled with as well as youth business units, which is basically a village business unit but targeting young people, and also internet access to a number of youth areas, including the vocational training center that we're going to. And mind you, at the same time, His Excellency will do the groundbreaking of a new vocational training center that will become the provincial center for Mashonaland East. Having said that, Mashonaland East is the host, but it is a national event, so we're going to expect young people from all over the country to be there. I think in the period before His Excellency arrives at the venue, there will be a jobs fair. So I don't want to let out any secrets, but all ministries, departments and agencies have pledged to come there. And those with vacancies are going to be offering those vacancies to young people who qualify. As well as other partners that we work with, they will be there disseminating information, tangible things that young people can leave that venue that day and know that they can follow up on and follow through and empower themselves. And as well as also have the opportunity to empower other young people with that information they have gained. So there's a lot to expect on the day. It's almost like Valentine's Day. Youth work we do every day, from January to January. This is just a day where we sit down and reflect, and we also get feedback from young people what they want. There will be an opportunity. Consultations have been happening leading up to the day where youth will be given the chance through representatives like the Zimbabwe Youth Council, as well as the ZANU-PF Youth League, who will address youth issues by presenting them to His Excellency on the day. So there is what we are bringing, and then we're also going to leave as well with knowledge from the young people themselves.
All right, and a National Youth Day, Honorable Deputy Minister, was formally declared a public holiday in 2017, but its roots go back to the 21st February movement established in 1986. How does this day help bridge the gap between the liberation generation and the digital generation of today?
That's a very interesting question. I think it's important to continue to commemorate days like that, because the youth of old, who are now our parents, their grandfathers and grandmothers now, you know, when we talked of youth empowerment then, it was about liberating the country. They had to leave whatever they were doing to go and fight a war. They didn't actually enjoy being youthful. They had to sacrifice that. Now, the youth of today, we're not expecting anybody to take up arms or go into the bush. We're expecting those people to take up the opportunities and the responsibility of building a nation. We're expecting them to see that if there are challenges within their families or societies or communities, to stand up and be counted, and not wait for anybody to come and do it for them, but for them to do it for themselves. So this is, in essence, that's what we are trying to do by bridging that gap between our elders and our young people.
All right, and earlier on, you made reference, of course, to the ZANU-PF Youth League, its involvement in the National Youth Day. Now, in a polarized environment such as ours, Honorable Deputy Minister, is the National Youth Day a neutral platform where youths from all political backgrounds, ZANU-PF, the opposition, and come together to solve common issues like drug abuse? We are reeling under the scourge of drug abuse in Zimbabwe and unemployment.
Yes, that is our intention, definitely, and it is simply this is exactly what His Excellency, the President, wants us to do. Otherwise, it would have just stayed as the 21st February movement. Now, I understand that it will take a bit of time for people to really trust that, but still, our doors are open. Daily, we don't ask who you voted for when you come to our offices. We don't care where you come from, as long as you're Zimbabwean, as long as you are young, and if you want advice on opportunities that are available, then we are there to serve you. So likewise on the day, yes, the Youth League being the originators of this day, they would play a big role. But it does not mean that other young people cannot come. That's why we have organizations like the Zimbabwe Youth Council. We expect that they will also rally young people who have associations, and associations of ZYC are not registered through political affiliation. We'll have embassies or foreign missions that will be there. So this is not a ZANU-PF Day. This is a National Youth Day for all youth in Zimbabwe.
Right. And a question that I must ask before I open the phone lines. So the number is 0714-414-413. The WhatsApp number 0772-162-651. And the message that has come through on WhatsApp that I've opened ties with the question we are going to ask, that one of the milestones of the ministry was revival of the National Youth Service. But one of the issues the ministry has been grappling with and pushing is the integration of graduates into the public sector. How far have you gone in ensuring that they're integrated into the job market, particularly the Public Service Commission? And the listener whose number ends with 340 says, can the Honorable Deputy Minister inform us about National Youth Service graduates? Vacancies are advertised in government departments where some qualify. They apply but are not considered even for interviews, e.g. nursing, etc. Is it a case of one hand not knowing what the other is doing? So you'd like to respond to that, Honorable Deputy Minister, as we await calls from our listeners.
Yeah, thank you. I would also like to thank the person who sent in that question. And it is true. To be honest, we did start off with some challenges in terms of aligning ourselves with other ministries and government. You see, at executive level, there's a cabinet directive straight from His Excellency the President to prioritize young people to be adopted and absorbed into the youth service based on their qualifications, whether they can make it into that particular sector, whether it is nursing or teaching or the military or the police. So we have had some success stories, but we ourselves as a ministry have not been so happy with the results and would like more. And I'd like to assure the nation that we are working day and night to make this happen. What we are doing as a ministry is that we have also gone further down, so that it's not something that we just talk about at the executive level. We have gone down to ministers of state, we've gone down to district level, to DDCs, to rural district council CEOs, so that we're disseminating this information right down to the grassroots. I think that's where some of the challenges we faced is the communication from up top and right down below at the grassroots, where these young people are going and submitting their applications. I would like to believe that going forward we will have better results for young people being absorbed into the public sector. But not only just the public sector, because obviously the government can't employ everyone. We also need buy-in from the private sector to understand that it is no longer the National Youth Service, it's the youth service in Zimbabwe. And what we are building out there is young people who are honest, disciplined and patriotic, who can take up any job. They have a various number of skills. Moreover, part of the youth service training is also skills training. So they do all that physical training, orientation, civic responsibility, but they also get attached to vocational training centers and they're given skills. So the students that we actually put through VTCs, we expect them, one, to be employable, but two, we also expect them to be able to create employment as well. So it's not that we are going to have everybody go into government. We want some to go into government, some to go into private sector, some to start for their own, because we're building a country and we need the young people to build it.
All right, makaterera kunepfenyuro yeStar FM. Nguva dzedu dzasvika pana 7:20 mustudio tine mutevedzeri wegurukota rinoona nezvekusimudzirwa kwevechidiki nekudzidziswa nemabasa evechidiki, youth empowerment, development and vocational training, Honorable Deputy Minister Kudakwashe Mpamhanga. And this is the conversation we're having mostly around the National Youth Day, which is coming on the 21st of this month, and you can join the conversation. I'm now opening the phone lines 0714-414-413. Star FM, good evening. Star FM, hello.
Hello, Maswera.
Taswera maswera umapinda mchirongwa taura zvenyu.
Maswera,
okay, taura zvenyu.
Right. Minister zavari kutaura ichokwadi chaizvo. Ndakatombosangana nawo paVTC nekukwekwe kukaguvi, right. Ndine masenza andaigadzira masolar cells, ndasira kuti pakaguvi basi. Ndine masenza andaigadzira vakatiite prototype and so forth. Ndaigadzira and so forth. Saka vakandibesa zvakanaka.
Tinotenda chaizvo nechapupu chematipa ichi. Tinokushuvirai zvakanaka, murambe muchisimudzira mabasa enyu. Thank you so much for calling. All right. 0714414413, 0772162651. You can also phone in on that number or send through your WhatsApp messages. I have in studio the Honorable Deputy Minister of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, Kudakwashe Mpamhanga. Star FM, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, you're through to the program. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for the Deputy Minister. My concern is especially on the recruitment of nursing. I think it's not very clear because they will say that there's a quota reserved for ZANU-PF youth, there's a quota reserved for so and so. So it's not very clear. Minister can help to shed a light on the recruitment of nursing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll take some more calls as we then give the Deputy Minister time to respond. 0772162651, 0714414413, and then some of the messages that are coming through. Okay, let me take another call. Star Family.
Hello, Linda.
How are you? And welcome.
And I'm talking about the minister would be one wrong hoping my student and graduate from vocational training center. What can I talk about to Shandiri? What is it? And in making on net outside in graduate, like I get in mechanics, but one is in the center, my panel for shadow.
Right. Right. And ufunga vanambonzwa pemambo taura tachida kungonzwa kuti vanga vari kuvocational training center yekupi chaiko but zvisinei mubvunzo taunzwa 0714414413 and 0772162651. Star FM. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you're through to Star FM.
Yes, mubvunzo ndoda kubvunza ndine kuti vana vakaenda kumavocational kana vachinge vapedza vanongoita zvona electric kana chii kuti vazonotestwa inonzi matrade test haanoita makore kana 4-5 kana asina 400 kana mari hatotesti. Saka tikuona kuti anopedza azobva kujob market manje haachakwanisa kupinda. Saka dai akatibatsira kuti pangaitwe sei ipapapo.
Aiwa, tinotenda chaizvo nemubvunzo wenyu. Star FM, good evening.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, you're through to Star FM.
Yeah, that's the whole book. The woman that is saying that one should be good in my youth. We are 27 years in the above and below. No should be good in my own, but that's not to tangira party financial one element. So I say my lens is a good in I want to know my quality that now should be Shan.
Right. Imemurkufona murkupapa. Alright, tinotenda chaizvo. Regai titore mutereri wedu wekupedzesera tichimbopa mukana Deputy Minister mukana wekuti vapindure. Alright. I'm failing to drop the line. Please help. Okay. Alright, so Honorable Deputy Minister, you've had the questions. Wekutanga, wanga uchidanzi, clarity on recruitment, nenya ema quota. Wechipiri wanga uri uwoyo wema vanenge vagraduate kubva kuma-vocational training center. Wechitatu hanzi ma-trade tests, the cost yacho yekuti vazoabsorbiwa mujob market. Then wechitatu vangu vachitaura nezve mayouth anoda kurima. Saka ndichitora wekupedzisira wetobva takupai mukana wekupindura. Star FM. Hello. Right, Nariadona Zvikari. So those are the questions, Honorable Deputy Minister, for this round. I'll give you time to respond.
Okay, I think papaitwa mvunzo wekuti kunursing here kune quota yeZANU-PF. To be honest, ndikataura chokwadi, I am not aware of that. Zvinonetsa kuti nditaure pamusoro pe-recruitment yenursing. Chandogona kutaura inini ndechekuti vechidiki vanenge vabuda mu-youth service in Zimbabwe ndo vari kunzi nemutungamiri wenyika ndo vanofanira kuita first preference kana vaakupinda mumabasa ehurumende. Saka kana paine quota iriko chinhu chinoda kuti tizive tichitaurawo nemaminista edu tione kuti ndizvo here zviri kuitika. But for isusu chatinoziva ndechekuti vari kubva ku-youth service ndo watechimiririra kuti wapinde mumabasa ehurumende anosanganisa nursing, teaching, police or the military. Pane vafona vachitaura zvekurima. Isusu tine vanonzi ma-youth focal desk ari muma ministry nema government departments ese, and zvakadevolvwa, saka even kuma province avari kuma office ema minister of state vanogona kubvunza tine ma provincial director varipo vanobatsira vechidiki varikuda kuita farming kana kuti mining, vanovabatsira kuti vawane mapepa kana kuti waite access kune minda. Zvakare mutungamiri webazi rinoona nezvekurima Honorable Masuka, ndinoyeuka nchiwanzwa achitaura kuti munhu anogona kupiwa munda nehurumende, asi mazuva ano zviri kunetsa kupa minda because minda yakatopera kudhara, ndozvavakataura. Uyezve kwaane nhau yema-title deeds, asi kune vanhu vane minda who are out there and they are willing to partner nevanhu. Saka muyouth ane shungu ari kuda pekutangira, vandotone database kuagriculture yokuti munogona kuenda kwakadai ndokune minda ikoko. Asi isusu seministry of youth is tinotomirira vechidiki, saka vakataura nema-provincial director edu vari maprovince, isusu tikazviziva kuhead office tinoita zvatinokwanisa kuita kuti tibatsire vechidiki. I think there was another question on
the trade tests.
Trade test, yes. Kuma vocational training center edu, usually ma vocational training center anobatanidzwa ne-state institution, tertiary institution kunge university. Saka patinozopa mwana certificate yepa vocational training center vanotonyora mazama avo ari ma-trade test. But kana vari kuti kune vana vasina ma-trade test vakasununguka kubata provincial director kwavari ikoko kana kuti vanouya kuhead office kwatiri ku old parliament building, toona kuti tingabatsirani sei. Asi mazwiro angu nderokuti isusu vanhu vatinograduatesa kubva kuma-VTC vanofanira kugraduata vaita trade test.
Then pane vabvunza nenyaya maybe mungade kupinda futi pamwe havana kunzwa izvozvo zvekuti zvoni vari kugraduata kuma-vocational training center mabasa acho, I think vafona vatichi vakaita zvemechanic or something like that,
vari kuda pekushandira
ivava.
Yeah. Ivavo futi vanogona kubata ma-provincial director edu, vanobatsira ma-youth kuti kana aita mechanics ari kuda pekushandira, kana ari kumaruwa uko kune ma-rural district council, ivavo futi they are mandated kuti vabatsire vechidiki. Kune quota system yatinenge tichitoda kuti ma-youth awanirwa here ma-stand, ma-commercial stand ekuti vashandire kuti vatangewo mabhizimusi avo.
Saka zviri kushanda sei pa-quota system apa? Zviri kushandika here on the ground?
Yeah, zviri kushandika on the ground, but obviously kune kwatinombowanawo ma-challenges zvedu, asi isusu nyange zvichinzi kune ma-challenges hatimire kushanda. Isusu tikaziviswa kunzi kune challenge kana kuti kune bazi rehurumende riri kukundikana kuti ripe vechidiki mukana, isusu ndo zvatichida kuziva, tobatsirana kuti ma-youth edu aoneko abatsirwe.
All right, ndinovimba vateereri vedu vabatsirikana. Now, Honorable Deputy Minister, coming to the issue of drug and substance abuse, it is no longer just a challenge, it has become a national emergency. Some critiques have argued that our youth centers are underfunded and that the programs do not include actual rehabilitation infrastructure. What is being done to make sure that these are upgraded to effectively deal with affected youths?
All right, thank you very much for that. The scourge of drug and substance abuse is real, and it has gripped our nation. And it is a challenge not just for the government, but the whole of society as well. With that in mind, pakagadzirwa a committee inotarisa drug and substance abuse, and maministry umwe neumwe ane paanonzi ashande. Ku-youth neku-ministry of sport we fall under the demand reduction pillar. The logic behind that being isusu tinofana kugadzira ma-vocational training center edu so that young people want to go to them. We have to revive our recreational centers so that young people have places to go. And at the same time, even program yedu youth service in Zimbabwe, it's not a program year drug and substance abuse, but last year we had over 600 young people who were victims of drug and substance abuse in collaboration with the Angel of Hope Foundation, which is led by Her Excellency the First Lady, Dr. Auxilium Mnangagwa, and we managed to turn their lives around. So youth service itself is not an anti-drug and substance abuse program, but it was seen that it is effective in recovering young people who society had thought were lost, who had been abandoned by their families and their communities, and we are very happy that we've managed to turn their lives around. So in the demand reduction pillar, we work together with the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Recreation, and together we come up with programs and initiatives to reduce the demand of drugs amongst young people by creating activities and engagement that will keep young people off drugs. But I have to say that on that same point, yes, I've heard schools of thought, wanoti, my youth are with drugs because I'm not sure if that is the truth, because unemployment has been there in Zimbabwe, or high unemployment rates have been there in Zimbabwe for a long time. The country has gone through over 2 decades of economic sanctions. Industries shut and unemployment rose a long time ago. But the phenomenon of drug and substance abuse did not coincide with the high unemployment rates. It's something that has started to emerge. So yes, on the one hand, we want to create my activities economic empowerment and employment and the like, but at the same time, it is not a solution to everything. Also, even if you look amongst affluent people, affluent youths who are going to Group A schools, they're also facing the issue of drug and substance abuse. So it's not an issue of necessarily being that it's poverty or it's unemployment, but it definitely is a challenge that we have to face, and it's not a challenge that the Ministry of Youth can do alone. The whole of government has come together for this, and what we need is the whole of society to come to this. We need church organizations, we need youth organizations, we need everybody at the table to see and come up with solutions to fight this.
All right, you are tuned to Star FM, sounding good all the time. It is 25 minutes before 8 o'clock, and we are about to wrap the show. And I have in studio Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training Deputy Minister, Honorable Kudakwashe Mpamhanga, as we talk about the National Youth Day and all things to do with youths. Now, Honorable Deputy Minister, you have been brave as a ministry, as government, in calling out bigwigs involved in the drug trade. However, critics have said that the focus has primarily been on the users and on those who are pushing these drugs into the market, and what have you, targeting the youths and others. Can you give us an update on what is being done to the drug peddlers? Matana runyazotorwa drug peddlers haya kuti zvakamira sei, timbori papi as we continue to wage this war against drug and substance abuse in Zimbabwe?
Thank you so much for that question. I think it goes back to what I said before. Because Isusu, as the Ministry of Youth, Isusu, our job is the demand reduction pillar. When it comes to combating peddlers or how these drugs are coming into the country, this is now the job of the Ministry of Home Affairs, as well as others in the security sector. What we do is we play our role, Ministry of Youth, in terms of engaging young people but we know that we are a sum of parts. So if our Home Affairs, they also have a squad, a special team within the police to combat drug and substance abuse, and also across the security sector. So it's the combined efforts of all of these sectors together, one of the biggest challenges is that being a land-linked country, or landlocked as some would say, we are a transit route for a lot of drugs. So I think what would help the nation is to get more information on seizures of drug consignments that are passing through, so that people understand that, people are working out there under serious resource constraints. Home Affairs is working hard, and we at the Ministry of Youth are also working hard to engage young people.
All right. And Honorable Deputy Minister, many youths who fall into drug abuse usually lose their places in schools or jobs. Beyond the Center of Hope initiatives, what is the ministry doing to ensure that a young person who has successfully completed rehab can actually get back into the workplace without being stigmatized?
Yes, what we're doing is that Isusu, we are mandated to impart skills. We also have youth service in Zimbabwe, and we also have Empower Bank, which is a youth orientated and centered bank. Saka kunema graduates edu ekuma VTC, we encourage them to go to Empower Bank because they are the first preference there, as well as Wanengo Wabuda mu youth service in Zimbabwe, to also go to youth service to Empower Bank. Not only Empower Bank, but many banks out there also have youth packages for economic empowerment. We also have the National Venture Capital Fund, which is run under the Ministry of Finance. Within the developmental sphere, outside of government, we have a number of NGOs and developmental partners that are taking on young people and helping them. Other ministries like tourism, agriculture, especially agriculture, they have done a lot in terms of giving young people land, giving young people implements. So it is a whole of society, whole of government approach, and that's what we're doing.
Right, I'll take my last set of calls on 0714414413 and 0772162651 or 660-397. Prefix that with 0242 if you're phoning from outside Harare. And I have in studio Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training Deputy Minister Honorable Kudakwashe Mpamhanga, as we talk issues to do with the youths. Now, recruitment for the 2026 National Youth Service is now open, Honorable Deputy Minister. But before, I'll just take this call before I proceed with my question. Star FM, hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're through to Star FM.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of hypocritical acts when it comes to the mad drugs. Because if we are being honest, munarukita zvema drugs, ana time yofera achiona campaigns ayano anenge achiitwa mumastreets kuti say no to drugs and stuff. Munhu akaita madrugs akatogara pakona peroad akatostika pakutodiwa that one-on-one type of service yekutoenda muma-communities and try to reach out to that person ari kuita zvema-drugs, because haana time yekuona TV, anenge akatostika akarwa nedombo or musombojia. I don't know if that makes sense.
Tazvinzwa, tinotenda chaizvo, zviri kumeka sense. Regai tivape mukana wekuti vagotipindura kuti ndo zviri kuitika here, pamwe zviri kuitika musiri kuziva.
Just one more thing, sorry. I also agree with that person ataura zvekuti I don't know how true this is, kuti ma-drug peddlers ari kumbonyatsobatwa sei, because for example without mentioning names for defamation of character.
Aiwa, munotondidzingisa basa ka, because izvozvo zvinoitwa ndizvo zvotaura.
Asara mazita, I understand the diplomacy behind it. So kune ma-non-drug peddlers anotovotaurwa nezvawo muma-streets kumbari, and some of them have got actually high positions, whatever, in society. But so far hapana zvamboti zvaitwa kunana chitungiso kusaidza kunana demo kutona vanotozikana kuti madrugs ava pakatoripoti papolisi achina hapana zvairi kumboita. So I don't know kuti how serious are we in tackling this?
All right, thank you very much for that call. I will allow the Honorable Deputy Minister to respond. I'll take my last caller on 0714-414-413, 0772-162-651. This is Muriro on Monday, and I have in studio the Honorable Deputy Minister of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, Kudakwashe Mpamhanga. Star FM, hello.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity. Now, I wanted to ask the Deputy Minister something. I know the issue has been addressed to do with land, especially access of land to youth. But also, another factor I wanted to ask was to do with maybe financing for agricultural ventures. Let's say I'm a youth, I'm trying to get into farming, but now that we're moving with technology, there are certain type of technology like maybe borehole, solar power generation on the farm. Just wanted to find out, are there any facilities that a youth can access for such infrastructure on a plot or a farm?
All right, thank you very much for that question, and we'll now allow the Honorable Deputy Minister to respond. So those two questions coming on the issue, support towards financing youths who want to get into agricultural venture, to sink boreholes, solar power generation, and then I'll take my last caller of the show. Star FM, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you? You're through to Star FM.
Yeah, Honorable Minister.
Vakateerera taurai zvenyu.
Ya, tine dambudziko kuzesa uko. Matorerwa anoitwa macontracts ezvezvi zvane nepotism riri serious.
Zvino Honorable Deputy Minister vana kubva kuzesa ka vabva kuMinistry of Youth Development.
Kuti macontracts anobatsira kuti mayouth awano chekurarama choviri. Kana kusvika pindike kuchikuita kuti vanotengesa basa kubhadharisa kuti munhu apinde.
Right. Tinotenda rakaitika, and that's our last caller for this show. Honorable Deputy Minister, manzwa mubvunzo wefinancing mamboubata zvekare asi pamwe vangu vasati vatanga kuteerera chirongwa, then vazobvunza kuti zvoni macampaign approach yedu towards dealing neissue ye-drug and substance abuse, how are we ensuring that it's targeted to the intended beneficiaries vacho variku, of course tinenge tichitargeta vari kufunga nezvazvo vasati vaita kuti vazive the dangers, but also more specifically now kune vatuwo mazviri vanzi nemuteereri ivava vateereri maroad show, maybe mungade futi kutsanangura mambozvibata asi mungade futi kutsanangura kuti zvimwe zvirongwa zviri kuitwa neministry yenyu to ensure kuti tanyatsosvika kune vacho vakumwa vana dombo tubwa kuti vazive tsaona dzeizvozvozvo zvakamira sei, nevataura nezvefinancing of agricultural ventures. Iyo yekuzesa, we are not specifically making it a zesa issue, but we're just going to say maybe motsinira futi zvamambotaura kuti vabva kuma-VCT vava ku-National Youth Service and generally ma-youths even vanenge vasina ministry yenyu iri kuita sei kuti vange vachibatsirikana nedonzvo reministry yenyu yekuti youth empowerment, development and vocational training?
All right, thank you. Thank you for the questions, to those who put questions through. Let me start with the question or the comment to do with Nyayama campaigns. Kuti ma-campaigns haateererwe nemunhu ari kuita ma-drugs, and it's true haateererwe nemunhu ari kuita ma-drugs, but we can't stop campaigning to inform the nation that drugs destroys lives, and that drug and substance abuse is not the way to be productive. So we target vastowapinda muma-drugs kuti vazive the dangers of drug and substance abuse. I think it would be irresponsible for us as a government not to make the nation aware. So campaigns are not the only thing we do but it is definitely something that we expect from all the pillars of drug and substance abuse. When it comes to the one-on-one in NGHDY, it's more leaning towards rehabilitation, which falls under ministries like that of the Ministry of Health and Child Welfare. Kuti wherever anongwapinda rehab centers, wanozodaku zobatsirwa futi with counseling, so that they don't get into drugs again, or don't fall back into those things. Isusu, the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, to know Tarisa the demand reduction pillar. Ours is not just drug and substance abuse campaigns, but it's about creating programs and initiatives that engage young people, not just in economic empowerment, but also in sport, recreation, art, because all those sectors are dominated by young people. We have to create safe spaces for young people to go, and also platforms for young people to express themselves or to show their talents. So that's why we then have vocational training centers. That's why we've introduced digital skills. So the logic behind that is tikapam youth ma skills nyangwa kashaya basa hazoshaya zvekuita hashaya ma odd jobs ekuita. Is tinozoti if we produce young people who are responsible, who are orientated, who have civic responsibility, they are less likely to engage in drug and substance abuse. And studies have shown that this is successful. At Zimbabwe, we benchmarked this. The ministry traveled to places in Africa where they have youth service. In Zimbabwe, they also traveled to places like Korea to see what is best suited for us. And then moreover, His Excellency the President wanted to recreate youth service in a way that was acceptable to greater society. So we moved away from that time where it was seen as green bomba, young people terrorizing. We wanted young people to be models for other young people. So that's what I can say to that question. Pazotaurwa nyaya ye-financing for young people. Vanogona vaine pawainapo pekurima and the like. I think, as I alluded to earlier, we have provincial directors who can inform young people where they can have access to loans. And it's not just limited to the Ministry of Youth or Empower Bank. We have organizations that are giving loans to young people. We have Zimbabwe Agricultural Development Trust, which is also giving out loans to young people. We also have the Ministry of Agriculture itself, through the ADA program, is also giving loans out to young people to get them started. They might not give young people money, but what they will do is they will give them seed, fertilizer, implements. And that's a start for a young person who's serious about farming. And also that's how you then access boreholes, and also access to solar-powered boreholes. Then Pazovunzwa question Yekuzesa, I think it was directed towards tenders. Kupiwa mabasa through the tender system as my youth. I think Praz now has a very, very open system. I think the biggest challenge at Tinayo in the youth sector is that Isusu my youth edu, we need to move away from looking at our youth as if one drugs chit kana kuti vanhu vasingazive zvavari kuita. The young people in Zimbabwe are quite amazing. They are that amazing that they are employable anywhere in the world. And there are young people out there in Zimbabwe who are doing great things and amazing things. And there are young people who are doing great things at a small scale and great things at a large scale. And I think we don't talk about it enough.
So, Honorable Deputy Minister, in line with the whole of government and whole of society approach, what is your ministry, or how is your ministry enhancing the perception or refining perception around youths, as you've said it? Kuti avasi munakangofunga mayouth arongofunga zvemadrag. Muri kushanda sei nemamwe masangano, mamwe mapazi ehurumende, other ministries, departments to capacitate youths in polishing up ma persona avo, also capacitating them kuti pavanoenda even kune mamwe financial institutions asingori vana Empower Bank. They have bankable projects and things like that, communication skills, just sprucing up youths. What is the ministry doing beyond the National Youth Service? How are you collaborating with other organizations around those issues, the image, perception and stuff?
Yeah, we are collaborating with not only just sister ministries within government, but we are doing a lot of work with developmental partners. There's a lot of youth work going out there. I think Patinator challenge is that we need to market it more. We need to communicate better with the nation as a ministry. That I have to admit that we need to do. But we have definitely started on a new trend. I think the Honorable Minister, everybody knows, Honorable Tinoma Chakaire, is ever present on social media streams because Ndopanema Youth is constantly engaging young people wherever he is on social media. I think for us is to come up as a government, working together with colleagues to come up with a better communication strategy, because there are brilliant young people out there and they are Zimbabweans, and they are the ones who are driving economic activity. And one of the major things that we need to do is help young people with compliance matters, because the informal sector is larger than the formal sector in Zimbabwe, and that informal sector is driven by young people. They are the ones who are actually driving the nation. But what they have expressed to us is that some of them would prefer not to be compliant because they feel that the fees are exorbitant, whether they're in mining or whether they need permits and licenses. So we have tasked Zimbabwe Youth Council to come in and help young people become compliant. It doesn't stop there. We are also members of parliament. So as a legislative agenda, we have bills that we plan to introduce to the House.
Maybe shed more light on that, yes.
The youth bill, which cements the quota system for young people, which then speaks to Jatarwa na Babaya Wangwachipunza Shema contract ekuzesa. Right now, it's the way it works is that as a policy position, we are definitely putting young people at the forefront, but it must be backed by legislature. So the youth bill is due to come to Parliament in this session of Parliament, and so that when we do that, we cement youth empowerment, not just in policy, not just in the programs we're making, but as a matter of law, so that we mandate everyone to do it. As it is, NDS 1, NDS 2, the National Youth Empowerment Strategy that was launched by His Excellency the President, it already commands that all ministries, departments and agencies create pathways for young people to gain and to enter each and every sector. So we definitely need to keep pushing on that front and incentivize young people who are doing good things out there to become compliant, to be certified and to actually contribute to the broad-based economy.
All right, and as we end the show, just two last questions. Given the calls, the concerns that we've had from some of the listeners who called Honorable Deputy Minister, the recruitment for the 2026 Youth Service is now open. Your assurance for the parents listening and the youths that these recruits coming out are job ready, have job ready vocational certificates, and not just the focus being on instilling national values, discipline and patriotism. Is there that assurance? Not sure they'll come out with job ready vocational certificates and absorbwa
Okay, I think it's important to establish that when we're talking about economic empowerment in the youth sector, we're talking about two things. We're talking about the job ready, as you mentioned, and also skilling young people to be able to create jobs. Like I said, government is not going to be able to employ everybody. So we also require that buy-in to come in from private sector. So what we are doing at Youth Service is not just creating job-ready youth. We are creating youth that can also move on to become entrepreneurs. It's a process. We're also tying up loose ends so that but we're not just restricting it to youth service. Chatiri kuda ndechekuti my youth aonekwe panobuda mabasa, panobuda matenda. That's what we are aiming for. And it's also what His Excellency wants us to do. So I think we have moved quite some way from when our ministry started, and it will be even better going forward. I can assure vabereki kuti vanopanda youth service hatisi kuvadzidzisa kamfu kuti vadzoke kumusha vachirova vanhu pagrowth point. Tiri kuvadzidzisa kuti vave vanhu vane hunhu. It's important that people understand what their country is and where it came from. That's why youth service is there. Every youth service in the world over, you won't have a youth service where you're not taught cultural values or national values. It wouldn't be a youth service if you didn't do that. But what we want to do is add an extra element where we empower them so that if they go out there and things look like they're not going their way, they can start something. They can do something, and they can build their nation.
As you build on that, the biggest incentive for a young Zimbabwean to sign up for 6 months of National Youth Service right now?
The biggest incentive, it will change you. You will not come out the same. It will change you for the good.
Well, some would like to take this opportunity and your parting words around the National Youth Day. Mashokenye kupedzesera muchudza ma youth is National Youth Day. Aninga maybe arikuti ndoenderei zvinondibatsirei mungade kuzivisa kuti chitakaringana nezuva ratichasana naro here.
National Youth Day is a day to celebrate being young, being a youthful Zimbabwean. And if you are a young Zimbabwean, it will be a good day for you to come to meet other young people. There are going to be opportunities there. There will be a job fair at National Youth Day. There will be information that may interest you. There will also be a chance for you to see, Kutima, ideas are we now? Are there others who are doing it, or is it novel? So it's a good place to network. It's a good place to learn. It's a good place for you to actually come and contribute to the Youth Day, because Isusu as a ministry, when we go there, it's not just about us telling the nation what we're doing or us telling young people. We also want to learn from young people. So we would appreciate if young people came in their numbers, in their thousands, in their millions to that day. What is it, or we need to tweak here and there.
Honorable Deputy Minister Kudakwashe Mpamhanga, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for coming to the show and shedding more light on the National Youth Day, which is coming on the 21st of this month, and responding to issues around the youth. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister, for coming through.
Thank you.
And many thanks to all the listeners that came through via WhatsApp and our phone lines. I am Linda Muriro, from myself and my producer, Tanyara Zgwakutaura. It is a goodbye for now.